Hey guys, this is What If Kazuma from Konosuba had the Omnitrix. Let's dive right into this fanfiction. A little bit too loud. I got a little bit too loud, but yeah, this is a reboot actually, because if you've been on my channel for a long time, you know that this video idea has been on my channel for a few years now. And I just went back on some of my older what ifs lately since I've been off of YouTube recording and posting videos on a regular basis like I normally promise you guys. I've been going back to my older videos and saying, freak it, let's redo some content. So I'm going to be hitting you guys with a lot more different types of content besides what ifs and trying to switch and kind of mold my fan base into something a little different than just what ifs. But let's just dive right into this fanfiction. Let's start off with the story. How Kazuma would come across the Omnitrix and how the Omnitrix would change his life and rewrite the story of Konosuba. God's blessing on this wonderful world. Let's dive right into this fanfiction. Like I said earlier, like the 1,000th time. We start our story off with a little introduction to Kazuma and his character and who he is. Kazuma as a person is a very, let's just say, very weak-willed and stupid person. But he is a hero at heart, and he has a lot of, let's just say, inner power that's untapped. A lot of heroism, true heroism, deep inside him. But what would happen is Kazuma would be going on a night jog, and in the morning time after he went to the city to get some, well, pretty much comic books or TV show or basically a video game. Basically, it was a video game. He sees a girl get almost run over by a car. Well, he thinks it's the car. He jumps into it, and boom, we get hit with Kazuma in the afterlife. Kazuma is given the chance to reincarnate, but he's also told about how he died, and how he died from shock and peed on himself. He tried to save a girl from a tractor. It was not a tractor, it was a freaking tractor. Bro died from shock, and he peed on himself. And his family even went as far as to laugh at him after he died, because that's just an insane way to go. You died by shock. You almost got you died from shock. You died from shock from a tractor. Tractors don't even move that fast, homie. I don't think a tractor could hit somebody and kill them. I don't think that could even happen. So, very simple. Kazuma's life is crap, and he had no girlfriends, no real friends, and he was basically shut in his whole life. And more or less, he wasted his life. Basically, the goddess Aqua gives him a opportunity to reincarnate into a new wonderful RPG type world with magic, dragons, and all sorts of fantasy like elements. We see that Kazuma is super excited by this, and he definitely is up for the challenge. Kazuma looks through the options of things he could take with him in his reincarnated life, like specific spells, a magical sword, a shield, or anything like that to help him on his journey to defeat the Demon King or the Demon Lord in this world. We see that Kazuma is basically getting taunted by Aqua, and Aqua's saying all this stuff about him. And eventually, well, Kazuma gets pissed off, and he says, well, you know what? Forget all these things. I want to take your ass with me. I want to take your bubblegum shaped up Aqualicious head. Now I'm playing. But he takes him, he takes her with him, and she gets replaced with a new goddess that's supposed to be a goddess god. Like, she's like super kind, super nice, and way better than Aqua in an impossible fathomable way. No offense. But we see that Aqua is deadass embarrassed, pissed off, and actually scared as hell now. So she's in this new world, down amongst the humans, with this reject of a human, the reject of a person. Kazuma laughs and basically gets taunted by Aqua as Aqua starts to basically ragdoll him, crying her eyes out, saying, "Why did you do this to me?" Ah! And basically just going off crazy. So we see that Kazuma is honestly kind of telling her to get the heck away from him, bro. Before he smacks the dog shot at her. So basically, he walks off, and before they, like, the whole thing, when they're in the bar after all this if you've seen episode 1 of if you've seen Konosuba, you understand that when they first got there, they had no money, no help, no nothing. And they were in the bar, sitting there alone, no money, no nothing, couldn't even register yet. So they were cooked from the beginning. They were done. So, but to put it simple, Aqua kind of steps up to the challenge, saying that it figures that you're just a shut-in slum. As she gets up, saying, "I'll handle it myself. I'll get us some money." She walks over to a priest, and us getting shown a lot of fan service, a lot of fan service of flat cheeks, by the way, bro. Aqua, you're not that guy. You're not that type of guy. But you're not that girl. But we see that Aqua basically, well, says that she is a goddess and you will give me money, blah 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 blah, to one of her disciples. And the priest or the disciple goes on and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, young lady," as he doesn't think she's a goddess at all. And he pays her with some coins and says, "I'm sorry and I bless you," okay, blah 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 blah, stuff like that. And Aqua is her representation, her ego is shattered. Basically, we see that Kazuma says, "Well, that was interesting, I guess," as they go on and get their money and pay the fee to register. Kazuma registers alongside Aqua, and Kazuma registers first, thinking he's gonna get super good spells, like he's reincarnated in this world. He must be OP. He must be like freaking Sword Art Online. He must be that guy. He must be that guy. And Kazuma gets hit with the realization that he's just a normal dude. He's just a normal dude in this world now, bro. He was still normal in the real world. What would make you special in this world? So Kazuma gets hit with a realization check that he's just him. He's not that guy. He's not the him. He's not him. He's just a random bum. So we see how Kazuma gets hit with the realization that he literally has trash stats, basic stats, and some of his stats are below average. But somehow, in this world, his stats of heroism and fame, fortune, and luckiness are through the roof. Pretty simple, his luckiness stat is insanely high, like enormous, like the highest it's ever been in all history. But that wouldn't really give him any real opportunities in the whole Adventurers Guild. But you'll be better off as a marketer or, a salesman, as the lady at the front desk tells him. But he says, no, it's okay, as his ego's shattered. And we see that Aqua gets pretty good stats and is basically given a bunch of opportunities. Like, she could be a hero, a priestess, a healer. She could be all of these different things, and she has so many options for her path. And the whole entire guild is praising her on. And Kazuma is peed off at this point, but he just says, well, you always start from somewhere. As Kazuma is filled with a little bit of motivation or some sort of heroism, fate, that he could turn his own fate and he could be his own person and he could push himself to, become better. So later that night, we see that Kazuma and Aqua go on their own journey to gain up money and work. Kazuma, that night, basically the first night of him working in the yards and construction to build up some money in this new town or this new universe or this new world, if it's simple, he falls completely exhausted that night. But he goes into the forest to clear his mind after having an argument with Aqua. He goes into the forest, and this argument with Aqua, this critical point, changed reality. In this world, let's just say in this world, this would have been an early version of, the Omnitrix universe. The simple multiverse, the Omniverse would have been an entire thing. And let's just say, for the sake of the plot and, this universe, this was a critical point of different branches of reality popping off in the Benton universe and the Konosuba universe. And this multiverse interlining with that branch. The Omnitrix's lore, the aliens, everything, Galva Prime, all this stuff would have been existed in this world. And the Omnitrix would have found its way to Earth a lot sooner into humanity's history. And we see that Kazuma would be walking in the forest trying to clear his head. But out of nowhere, he would have saw a shooting star. He would have closed his eyes and wished for something, saying that he wished he was stronger, he wished that he could have the boots he needed to become the best in this world he could possibly be. He looks and opens his eyes as he gets hit with a huge flying rock as Kazuma starts looking for it. He starts to skedaddle. Kazuma's running, and doing backflips over backflips, jumping over trees and all sorts of other things, doing weaves and turns and corners. Eventually, Kazuma stops after the crater is made right underneath him, or right behind him. Kazuma gets up and looks down the hole, and he sees a middle metallic orb. Kazuma gets super geeky and says, is this aliens? I thought this was a fantasy world, but this is awesome. Kazuma slips down the crater accidentally, or was it? As we'll get back to that story like later down the line, like let's say part 17 or some shit. But we see how Kazuma looks over and basically the orb opens up. Kazuma looks into the orb and he sees a glowing light. As it leaps onto Kazuma's wrist, and Kazuma starts to freak out trying to get it off and get it off and get it off and get it off. But eventually, it's about 15 minutes go by, and Kazuma's still trying to get it off, throwing rocks at it, trying to cut it with a knife, and nothing's working. Kazuma looks at his wrist and just starts tweaking with the watch thing as he makes it open up. A dial pops up, and Kazuma's looking at it, confused, saying this type of alien technology or something? As Kazuma presses down on it, and a huge bright green light blasts into the night, and Kazuma opens his eyes, being covered in diamonds. Kazuma is now Diamond Head. Kazuma is now Diamond Head. The Diamond Head from Ben 10, the universe. And he's a Diamond Head now. As basically, Kazuma starts to freak out. Now, I am going to be switching in between Kazuma's name and the alien name he's in. So let's say, for instance, he's transforming into Heat Blast. I'll be saying Heat Blast throws a fireball, or Kazuma throws a fireball. Either two, just don't get mixed up when I say Diamond Head or Kazuma, okay? But for sake, just for plot reasons, let's switch to Kazuma's name. So Kazuma starts to freak out, looking at his diamond-like hands as he clenches his fist, and giant diamond scars trying to pop out of his body. Kazuma starts to freak out, and he basically starts to try to rip it off of himself, like kind of scratching at his skin, but nothing's working. Basically, Diamond Head steps up. Kazuma looks at himself in a pond nearby and sees that his appearance has changed. He's different somehow. Kazuma has a little time gap, and we switch to about 5 minutes later as Kazuma is shooting diamond shards to trees and target practicing. Kazuma is super pumped by this, and he's saying that this is awesome and that it must be different transformations, as Kazuma did switch to the dial a few times, seeing different silhouettes of different things. And Kazuma thinks this is a huge advantage, saying that it was maybe some sort of technology sent to him by the gods. So Kazuma starts to train harder and harder and more viciously. Eventually, the next 10 minutes go by, and Kazuma runs out of time, transforming back into, well, him, as he punches a wooden tree, or basically a tree, a oak tree, and almost breaks his hair. Kazuma goes back, and we get a little time gap between then and about a couple weeks later. Kazuma's still training, but after he does his training and also his work field stuff, working at the construction site, working along Aqua, he doesn't tell Aqua just yet about what was going on with him, but he does tell her one night after Kazuma goes out training and almost burns down the forest. Kazuma follows her, not Kazuma, but Aqua follows Kazuma and basically asks him what the hell is going on. As Kazuma is covered in fire in Heat Blast form, and he says, well, this is kind of confusing to explain. We get a little time gap about 5 minutes later as Kazuma's trying to explain to her that what he's doing is some sort of alien technology or some sort of magical technology or mystical element that is now on him. Aqua heard tales of the Omnitrix from different multiverses, as the gods are kind of linked to different multiverses and different universes, being restricted to specific realms and specific worlds and timelines. Aqua being specifically aligned to his original anime world, as Aqua is confused on how this world is correlated with that world. She came across the Ben 10 world decades, centuries ago, around the time Ben Tennyson was in his first year, the 2000s era. But she was confused on how the Omnitrix came to this world. But she basically said that she didn't remember too much about it, but how some sort of big, giant lore behind it, and that she didn't really pay more attention on it when she was guiding souls from that world over to the afterlife. Kazuma basically says, as Lucis, you're You're still useless, aren't you? She says, hey, I'm not that useless, but you gotta get it through your head. That thing on your wrist is incredibly powerful. And whatever it is not coming off, because that's the one thing I did remember from it. It turns you into things and it never comes off, or unless you die it comes off, but that's something else. Kazuma is confused, but he just says, well, if this world's multiverse is something like that, the multiverse theory is correct, as you said, I guess it's very cool, but I'm a nerd, so I can get behind that logic. The multiverse is somewhat real. Kazuma flickers, some cogs are turning in Kazuma's head, and Kazuma times out after he gets an idea. Kazuma says that maybe this is the right push he needs to become and destroy the Demon King, but he needs to get better with his transformations. Kazuma so far after the first couple weeks with the Omnitrix has mastered about 2 aliens to their peak. He's mastered Heat Blast and he's mastered Diamond Head, because those were the first 2 transformations he's been transforming into on a current basis. Besides that, he's gotten better with Accelerate and other Omnitrix transformations and other alien transformations, making it a little easier for him to basically traverse the town at night and try to keep out of the sight of the locals, since he doesn't want to be too much of his name all around the city, since he doesn't know if they'll freak out and if it's any type of other animals or monsters that resemble the aliens he's transforming into. Could it land him in some sort of mob coming after him and stuff like that. So we see that Kazuma, and just for clarification, he has the normal base Omnitrix from season 1 of Ben 10, the original series. So he just has the OG aliens like Ripjaws, Upgrade, Diamond Head, Heat Blast, Wild Mud, all those original 10. He doesn't have Wild Vine or Ben Wolf or Ben Mummy or whatever like that. He doesn't have anything like that yet, but he will get it soon. But up to you guys. What should be the next alien transformation Kazuma should unlock? Should it be one of the new additions in the original Ben 10 series, or something new, or just a complete different alien? Because I am going to be introducing other aliens from different fiction, like predators, xenomorphs, and other things like that into Kazuma's arsenal. So up to you guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this new fan fiction. Hope you guys enjoyed this reboot, and I hope you guys enjoy my new narrating type of thing I'm doing here. I'm trying to go a little bit more, let's just say, more elegant, more educated. And sorry if I'm saying because or basically too much. I am going to be cutting that out. But hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. As always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces. Huh?